The difference a teacher can make. Steve, a 12-year-old boy with alcoholic parents, was about to be lost forever by the U.S. education system. Remarkably, he could read, yet in spite of his reading skills, Steve was failing. He had been failing since first grade as he was passed on from grade to grade. Steve was a big boy, looking more like a teenager than a 12-year-old, yet Steve went unnoticed. Until Miss White. Miss White was a smiling, young, beautiful redhead, and Steve was in love. For the first time in his young life, he couldn't take his eyes off his teacher, yet he still failed. He never did his homework, and he was always in trouble with Miss White. His heart would break under her sharp words, and when he was punished by her for failing to turn in his homework, he felt just miserable. Still, he did not study. In the middle of the first semester of school, the entire 7th grade was tested for basic skills. Steve hurried through his test and continued to dream of things as the day wore on. His heart was not in school, but in the woods, where he often escaped alone, trying to shut out the sights, sounds, and smells of his alcoholic home. No one checked on him to see if he was safe. No one knew he was gone because no one was sober enough to care. Oddly, Steve never missed a day of school. One day, Miss White's impatient voice broke into his daydream. "Steve!" Startled, he turned and looked at her. "Pay attention!" Steve locked his gaze on Miss White with adolescent adoration as she began to go over the test results for the 7th grade. "You all did pretty well," she told the class, "except for one boy, and it breaks my heart to tell you this, but," she hesitated, pinning Steve to a seat with a sharp stare, her eyes searching his face, "the smartest boy in the 7th grade is failing my class." She just stared at Steve. As the class spun around for a good luck, Steve dropped his eyes and carefully examined his fingertips. After that, it was war. Steve wouldn't do his homework. Even as the punishments became more severe, he remained stubborn. "Just try. 1 week," he was unmoved. "You're smart enough. You'll see a change." Nothing fazed him. "Give yourself a chance. Don't give up on your life." "Nothing." "Steve, please, I care about you." Wow! Suddenly Steve got it. Someone cared about him. Someone totally unattainable and perfect cared for him. Steve went home from school thoughtful that afternoon. Walking into his house, he took a look around. Both parents were passed out in various stages of undress, and the stench was overpowering. He quickly gathered up his camping gear, a jar of peanut butter, a loaf of bread, a bottle of water, and this time his school books. Grim-faced and determined, he headed for the woods. The following Monday, he arrived at school on time, and he waited for Miss White to enter the classroom. She walked in all sparkle and smiles. God, she was beautiful. He yearned for her smile to turn on him. It did not. Miss White immediately gave a quiz on the weekend homework. Steve hurried through the test and with his first hand in his paper. With a look of surprise, Miss White took his paper. Obviously puzzled, she began to look it over. Steve walked back to his desk. His heart was pounding with his chest as he sat down. He couldn't resist looking at this lovely woman. Miss White's face was in total shock. She glanced up at Steve, then down, then up. Suddenly her face broke into a radiant smile. The smartest boy in the 7th grade has just passed his first test. From that moment, nothing was the same for Steve. Life at home remained the same, but life still changed. He discovered that he not only could learn, but he was good at it. He discovered that he could understand and retain knowledge, and that he could translate the things he learned into his own life. Steve began to excel, and he continued his course throughout his school life. After school, Steve enlisted in the Navy, and he had a successful military career. During that time, he met the love of his life, he raised a family, and he graduated from college magna cum laude. During his naval career, he inspired many young people who, without him, might not have believed in themselves. Steve began a second career after the Navy, and he continued to inspire others as adjunct professor in a nearby college. This life left a great legacy. She saved one boy who has changed many lives. I know because I am the love of his life. You see, it's simply, really, a change took place within the heart of one boy, all because of one teacher who cared. Now read every word of this page. It proves that making money online does not have to be so difficult or expensive. Let me ask you a few questions. Are you literally burning inside to change your financial future? Are you sick and tired of having to answer to someone else? Who do you know that wants to spend more time with their kids? Which friend is hurting financially? Who has told you they want out of their jobs? Are you tired of working for someone else only to make them rich? The questions are typical and we all know the answers to them. So if you do have the passion, but you are confused on where to start, the first steps to take is to get yourself going in the right direction. What if there's an online franchise marketing system that gives you step-by-step, paint-for-numbers instructions on how to build an online income? We all have created a way to help anyone make money from home. Many people have tried earning income online and either failed or quit. Finally, iPass2 is the solution. After years of research, we have created a franchise-style online marketing system with step-by-step instructions. You'll be able to follow iPass2 simply by following instructions on videos, learning how to build a solid income online. Click the image below and watch the iPass2 video. My friend Kevin will explain the system. It really works. This is Vince Pangori. If I can do it, so can you.